Hey guys, and welcome to FanCast. We're very grateful to be recording from the historic St Kilda Sports Club, the oldest locker room in the Southern Hemisphere. Join us on the bench, where we talk all things footy. We're fans, and this is FanCast.
G'day, Fancasters. Welcome to another episode of the pod on the bench, where we have a proper footy chat. Hi, Steve. How you going?
Hi, Anna. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great. What's the news?
No, just not much. Moved into my new place over the weekend, so
Yes.
that was very exciting. So didn't catch a ridiculous amount of footy, but caught enough to get a rough gauge on what's going on.
Yeah.
How about you? How was gather round from home?
A gather round from home was all right. It was all right.
It was all right.
I think I had a little more FOMO last year than I did this year. Maybe because everybody's hyping it up now.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm still offended that everyone's mad at Jack Higgins for not thinking Adelaide was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously our lovely producer Dave and Joe, who couldn't be here. Unfortunately, he's passed away, so he won't be returning. So I'm the host now, so that's okay. No, he's all good. He's all good. He's probably just chilling. But
Hi, Joe.
We love you, Joe.
We miss you, Joe.
They went to gather round. I wasn't there. You weren't there. But seemed like a hell of a time.
It did.
Really good time. So, shout out to the fancasters out there. They would have seen a lot of the content that has been produced over the last few days, documenting their journey in gather round. Went to all the Adelaide Oval games bar Thursday night, so it seemed like they have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
What do you think about gather round in general? Do you reckon it should change location? Do you reckon it's South Australia's round? Is it hard to change?
I like it as South Australia's round, actually.
I think so too.
Honest.
I think so too. I think it just works perfectly geographically.
I agree.
People from Melbourne, where obviously a lot of the footy supporters are from, they can drive down, they can fly, they can do whatever they want.
Middle.
It's in the middle of everything. And I think it's just a fantastic spot. If you asked me this time last year, I probably would have said, you know what? It wouldn't be, I'd be for changing the location.
Yeah.
But probably because I went back-to-back years, I just went, wait, what else is there to do? But no, I think it's perfect. Had a gap year for gather round. Hopefully, I'll be back next year. But because I'm broke, I had to pay for furniture, and I can't afford a trip, and I was moving. So
Well, you heard it here, everyone.
I'll
if
be
you're
back.
broke, you can't
I'll be back
go.
next year. Just needed
good.
a hiatus for a year. So
Good.
a few interesting talking points.
Yeah.
I actually don't know the run sheet, so I'm going off my head.
What was your big takeaway from the whole thing? Big thing for the weekend.
Gather around another year of success,
Yeah,
but
but
we've
like,
talked enough about that.
Footy.
Footy.
What's the big takeaway from footy?
Well, obviously
over the
Sunday
weekend?
night was probably the
Most
biggest
miserable
talking
night
point
for us both.
for the whole round. I'm really trying to think of Thursday night. I thought was the best game of the round.
Yeah.
I thought Saturday twilight, Western Bulldogs and Brisbane was a really good game as well.
Was a good game.
Unfortunately, the Seoul game on Saturday night didn't live up to the hype. Well, no hype. But
was it hyped though?
no, it wasn't. No.
Right. I mean, that was really a poor choice. I
Yeah, that was
thought.
a real, let's chuck on a movie for the night
What-
type operation. So,
What do you think the logic was in choosing that game?
I don't know. I know a lot of people hang on the fixture, but it's actually hard to predict what trends are going to happen. You probably pick this game going, you know what, Melbourne they're getting Oliver back, Petrarca, everyone's back fully healthy. You'd think that would be a solid team. But yeah, unfortunately it wasn't.
Destiny.
And I think the one thing I thought they got wrong, they needed a Friday afternoon, like a Friday twilight game to head into the Friday night game instead of having two Saturday Arvo games clash. I think North Melbourne, Gold Coast at Barossa would have been wonderful. Friday twilight, but maybe the lights weren't up to scratch at that ground. So It would have been nice to see another game on Friday twilight for the fixture, but I thought it was another great success, and I wouldn't mind seeing Norwood get the chop for grounds.
That ground sucks. But my favorite game of the round was the Cats and the Crows.
Yeah, that was a ripper game of
I thought
footy.
that game was awesome. Might be the best game I've watched all year so far.
Yeah, that was one
Really
thing I wanted to bring up. Do you reckon it's been a good year for footy?
What do you mean?
Just like general games. There hasn't been many close, good games this year, it feels.
I think last year the competition was stiffer.
I agree. I think there's a lot more. I think the difference between the first and 18th, first and 12th was a lot stronger last year and closer together than it is this year. It does feel like there's a lot of poor teams in the competition right now.
I don't know if I'd call it that. I just think there's a bigger disparity between the better teams and the not better teams.
Yeah.
But I don't know that that's something that will stay that way.
No.
I don't know that we won't see improvement. I definitely think some of the teams that I had big hopes to do better didn't win every game in the first 5 rounds. But that's...
Yeah.
I think that the scores aren't as close.
No.
So that's a thing.
I think the quality of footy's good, like the actual quality of footy.
Agreed.
Due to a few of the rule adjustments, everyone's been playing a lot faster and all that, and that seems to be the new style. But I think the actual brand of footy's good, but has there been that many good games this year? Like, I
blame the fixture.
How come?
I just think the fixture wasn't really suited to put well-matched teams together at the beginning of the year.
No, that's a good point.
And that might be just on the AFL to just do better next year.
You would hope so.
You'd hope.
I think they got to stop with this floating fixture. I think that was my phone. Sorry.
That was mine.
Oh, it was yours. Look.
I'll just get rid of ground zero, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. It stinks. It doesn't do anything for football. It doesn't bring any interest into football, and everyone...
Put it to ground zero.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's pretty clear, and I think it messed up the schedule for a lot of teams. You know, the Hawks will complain they had a 15-day break.
Yeah,
you know, which isn't fun. Collingwood complains because they've played gather round now twice out of state, and it's no fun. I mean, it just messes up the whole schedule and makes it a ridiculous start to the season. Hard to gauge anything really.
And do you know what really sucks? The whole fixture's going to be, the whole ladder's going to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Gold Coast and Essendon have to play the week after the season's done.
That's right.
Which sucks.
Yes.
We should have, like, it's round 5. Like, everyone should have played the same amount of games as each other. And a bit frustrating.
Agreed.
I guess you can't do much about it. I thought they could have found a way to fit it in, but is what it is. The fixture's a little bit shoddy at the minute. But
I think that just it wasn't good matchups from the start. They probably could have put a bit more thought into that, and the 0 round makes that even harder to do.
And I have another complaint for gather round. The 7:20 time slot.
Yeah,
that's a killer.
On when?
That's a killer for me.
On which day?
Sunday night.
Sunday night.
The Port Hawks fixture.
Okay, yeah. Nobody was interested by then.
Like the hype was already gone because I feel like I guess it's my work circumstance that because for that game I said to my mates in a voice message, any inkling that Hawthorn aren't going to win this game, I'm turning it off and going to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I got to get up at 3:30.
Yeah. Were you footied out by then?
I was. Like, I just reckon it would have worked better for a Friday night time slot, but that's all right. So when I saw the score, 70-8, that'll do me.
How did you feel about that game? Because I had a suspicion that Port would win that one just because.
Yeah, you got that right.
But how did you feel about that game and your performance?
Oh, gee. Well, I can only comment from what I saw in the first quarter and the first half of the second quarter
then
because
it was done.
because I turned it off because I needed to go.
doesn't tell
I
me
needed to go to
anything.
sleep. Yeah, we were just insipid. I think the scoreline doesn't really matter. I saw what I needed to see, and we just got absolutely smashed when it mattered. And fair credit to Port, they were just fantastic. I thought they just absolutely destroyed us from pillar to post.
Do you think it's because you were missing Will Day?
No, I don't think it's that significant of a difference. I think it really does hurt not having Will Day. So I think that does really hurt us for the long run. But yeah, we just
What was
didn't
it?
put in any effort.
You think it was just everyone partied too hard in Adelaide?
Yeah. They must have gone on Hindley Street and went to the wolf shed. So
Yeah.
but no, they just didn't look up to scratch. Port did. They're on fire. They just did the exact same thing to what they did to us in the semi-final, and just completely cooked us from the very start.
They weren't on holiday, so I feel like everyone else was.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
That's part of it.
Yeah, very disappointing performance. I think Will Day out certainly hurts, but that Will Day or not, that doesn't change the way we played in the first half. So
Yeah.
I'm not panicking. I think just every team can have one of those games, and hopefully we bounce back. At least on Monday, have my doubts, but hopefully it's just a one-off game.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Saints go, I'm not overly disappointed.
Yeah.
I do think they look like they also had a nice time at Adelaide, other than Higgins, but who knows? He's probably out having a few beers too. But I did feel like the Giants are really in form and really a tough, big team. Size-wise, they're way bigger than us.
They're a different kettle of fish. I think Saints tried hard, but I just thought the Giants were too classy.
I think the pressure was a lot for us, and I don't know that we were fully prepared for that.
And obviously on a ground like that where it's not as wide,
exactly.
the pressure's closer to you. A player is a step or foot closer to the ball than
Agreed.
usual. So
that being said, I need to get something off my chest, because I listened
Volcana, episode 2.
To my least favorite turd talking about football this weekend, and his analysis of the Port game versus the Saints game drove me mad, because he's sitting there saying that, well, the Saints are clearly not a top 4 side, considering how they performed. And also, Port Adelaide, look at the amazing game they had. Isn't that just a beautiful example of footy? No, it's not a beautiful example. I think we still beat Port. They're still putrid, in my opinion. The Hawks lost to them by more points than we lost to the Giants. That is insane to me. But he says nothing about the Hawks being not a top 4 side. It has to be the Saints that are in question, right? And they did the best they could with the talent they had. So Jack Sinclair, not talented, I suppose. Nasiah Wanganeen-Malera, not talented, I suppose. Cal Wilkie, not talented, I suppose. Rowe and Marshall, maybe not talented, even though he's one of the best ruckmen. Maybe Jack Higgins, who's only 1 goal away from being in Coleman running, not talented. So I just am so sick of this guy. Like, I'm sick of listening to his crap about the Saints. I feel my team deserves a little more respect, and I'm sick of some country bumpkin bullshit. I'm not buying into it. So stuff it, Kane, again. I'm sick of it. I can't listen to it. I mean, I did listen to it, but I hate it. So enough. It's just your opinion's garbage, and you prove it every week. Thank you.
Wow, there we go. What a rant.
I could have kept going.
I'm glad we
but I
didn't talk
stopped.
about it pre the show, because I was just like, no, save your Volcana for the show. And yeah,
I'm
there we
still
go.
mad. It didn't really help. I could do it again.
You got to provide variety with your Volcanos. It can't just be a cane. It can't just be cane
I'm
every
trying to
week.
think if I'm mad at anyone else. But it's just no one gets me as mad. No one's as disrespectful, to be honest, although the commentators last week were pretty shit with St Kilda as well. They were very disappointed that we performed so well, which made me upset. But whatever. I'll try and find something to make me angry next week. But I was really annoyed hearing that today.
My favourite part about your Volcano was just Dave, the producer behind the cameras, just licking his lips, looking at the content he could do with that. So he's up and about, ready to go.
Someone scream.
He is cheering his ass off behind the cameras. He absolutely loved it. So they'll be on the TikTok over in the next 2 hours.
The Saints deserve more respect. I'm so sick of it. They're not. They just deserve more respect.
Yeah, exactly.
From a lot of people, but particularly Kane, especially from a subpar football player that is more famous for his commentary than his footy.
Exactly. Great stuff, Anna.
Anyway, moving on. Any other games you enjoyed over the weekend? I thought Richmond were going to pull through.
Enjoyed is an interesting word for. Yeah,
I watched some of the Richmond Freo game, and they looked good. Richmond looked good for like a quarter, which was
shout
exciting.
out Andy Brayshaw, my Supercoach captain. 155, thank you. That was really the main reason I was watching. Just watching Andy Brayshaw run amok. But Freo again, just getting the job done. That's 3 on the trot for them. They're starting to ease themselves into it, albeit a couple of poor teams they had to get through, but. The Dogs was a good win, and
good win.
So they've got Melbourne this week as well. So they can build themselves into some good form, but we need to see them bring that form into some of these upper echelon sides.
I mean, they're getting a lot of respect, and they haven't quite beat a really great team yet.
I'm not sold on Freo yet, but you know what? Wins on the board is what matters sometimes early in the season. So. They needed that to get their season back on track. It was looking a bit dire after being 0-2, but they're now starting to roll. I think that midfield, especially with Hayden Young back and Sean Darcy, I think they're 2 really good additions. Switkowski back too for them. So they're getting a few soldiers back. Some unfortunate news though with Nat Fyfe.
Oh yes, is Nat Fyfe going to play footy again?
Oh, he'll play footy again.
I mean. Professionally.
Yeah. I think so. It's a hamstring injury, unfortunately, for Nat Fyfe at Peel Thunder.
Yeah, but how old is Nat Fyfe?
I think he's 33, 34.
At some point, the hammy becomes like a done deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I personally thought any way to get a paycheck, you don't blame anyone.
Right.
But thanks, Dave. Any way to get a paycheck is what you got to do.
Yeah.
That would have hurt your hip, Dave. And any way to get a paycheck, third time I've said that. Yep. But he'll get a farewell game, you would suspect, depending on Freo's situation come later. Maybe it's more important just to get into the finals. But I thought Nat Fyfe was good last year. I think it's just what an absolute champion he is, but you just can't, over the past probably 4 or 5 years, you just can't get on the park. It was relatively healthy last year, but
I don't know. Once the hammy goes and you're approaching the mid-30s, I think it's touch and go.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, there's speaking of a lot of oldies, there's also a lot of goldies with those oldies. Like good segue. Shout out, Joe. Patrick Dangerfield.
Yes.
How good was he on Thursday night?
Amazing. And it is annoying when you're playing against them, but then when you're not, it's kind of fun to watch. I never thought I'd think the Cats would be fun. I used to be like, oh, it's so boring to watch the Cats. But they've really been fun to watch this season.
They've been good to watch this year, the Cats.
Yeah, they really have.
They've made a slight tinkering with the game plan.
And I like it.
Yeah, they look good once again. Dangerfield said, hang on, still got another couple of years left in me. Get on my back, lads. Get on my back.
Yeah, good
I'll
for
carry
him.
you to the victory in that fourth quarter. He was just unbelievable in that fourth quarter. I thought he was best on ground. I know the stats won't suggest it, but I thought he was game changing.
Sometimes people shine.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what the stats say.
Yeah, exactly. And they're playing him a lot more forward this season, which I think it's a good move. He's very dangerous up forward. Probably hasn't got the legs for the midfield anymore. I mean, well, you got the likes of Max Holmes, Bailey Smith, Tom Atkins.
Yeah, Bailey was a great addition to that team.
How good's
great
he?
addition.
They're just looking for him every time.
I know.
Not the best by foot, but he gets the job done. And
No, I think it's great for them.
Yeah.
Speaking of big comebacks,
Nearly Hawthorn.
Are the Blues back?
Ah, yes, we haven't talked about the Blues to lose. The Blues to win this week as they come up against the Eagles. Who would have thought they beat them?
I mean, I didn't know that they'd pummel them.
Yeah.
Does this mean that they're back?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, what do you think?
But as I've
I
said,
actually didn't watch that game.
I watched a little bit, but I was mainly watching North Melbourne Gold Coast.
Oh, right.
But it was a massive confidence booster for the Blues. You just need to get a win on the board, and I think Carlton are very much a confidence-based team. Where just a couple of wins, they got West Coast. They had West Coast. They've got North this week. We'll see what they can do against them. Get a couple of wins on the board, and that can change. So, very interested to see what Carlton provide.
I have
over
to
the
be
next
honest
few
with
weeks.
you. I think that's a bit weak to be like, oh, we just need to win to believe. Like, no, just believe and then you win. Why do they need to win to win? It's kind of stupid, don't you think? It's so wimpy to me.
You can't. It's hard to believe 0-4 though. It's very hard to believe with Carlton's expectations to believe at 0-4.
Right. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
You shouldn't need to win to believe in your team.
Yeah.
You should be out there thinking you're going to win every game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Carlton have gone through a fair bit.
Wimps. I'm calling them out.
I thought it was a good performance. Tom de Koning, I thought was...
He's awesome.
I thought he was actually
I
pretty...
would love to have him at St Kilda.
Yeah.
Please come play with us.
TDK was sensational. I thought
Amazing.
Sam Walsh looked back to his best from what I saw. He was looking really good. Again, albeit West Coast.
It's easy to look good when a team isn't trying.
Yeah. Not trying. They're just so young.
West Coast?
Yeah. Have you seen their midfield?
Yeah, they're as young as our midfield.
Yeah. I was checking the CBAs online, and I think it was Jack Henderson, Clay Hall, and Tom Gross as the three main midfielders. I was thinking, gee.
That's tough.
It's a tough one. I think the West Coast, the Eagles, I'm fairly concerned about. Just due to, let's be honest, it's been a decently long rebuild now for where West Coast have been, and it just doesn't even feel like they're just out of the first phase.
Yeah, well, you know,
they've been like this for 4 years probably.
But North are no better.
Yeah, at least they got the talent there. The concern is with the Eagles. Harley Reid's a bit of a concern. They're playing some of these young lads, and I'm sure they'll turn out just fine. But they're just still in that first phase of trying to find, which is why I was massively critical of them with the way they've handled their drafting process and their trading aspect, because sometimes you just need to get the good kids in now. 2 out of 3 years, they've split the pick. They've split the pick. You need to get some top talent in. I know Fremantle aren't seeing the world a lot, but you look at Caleb Sarong from Victoria, Andy Brayshaw from Victoria, both
Toby Travalia.
both top 10.
From Victoria.
He's not close to that yet, but he will one day.
He will.
But
You want to see the potential. I don't know if you always see it at West Coast. I don't know if you always see the potential.
They're Victorian kids that have built up the culture. I know West Coast have been, from what I've seen, they've been drafting WA kids just to make sure that they stay. But it's just like, what if they're no good? You know, like, are you just taking the player that's worse on the board because they're from WA instead of this bloke who might be good? Anyway, I think West Coast just need to target some. I just think, just stop splitting the pick. It's doing my head in. You need to get the high talented young kids in now, which I think they will this year, and I'll lose my mind if they end up splitting it again. But they should get compensation for Oscar Allen, who looks like he's off to Brisbane, it seems. So they'll get a good compensation pick for that. They'll get this year's pick, of course, as well. Hopefully they don't split it. And, make sure you don't split it.
And what are your feelings about North? Tell me. I have feelings.
Yeah, I think they're talented enough. But
what happened on the weekend?
I do worry about that crop of North players that have been through this for the past 5-6 years. It's just,
I'm just worried for the fans.
It's just tough to get out of that. You lose so much where you just can't get into that winning mentality, and that's very hard. Like there's North Melbourne players aged 23, 24 now that have still been part of it when they were 18 years old.
I know.
Same year after year. So
Zurhaar,
he hasn't seen much.
Larky's not seen much, and he's so good.
I respect the loyalty, but
oh my God.
LDU obviously signed that big old contract this week, so he's holding faith in the club. But I'll
see this. I think they only had really one shit quarter of that game. They probably could have really pulled out on that one, and they just, I think they just got tired.
I thought they were a lot more respectable against Gold Coast this week. Yeah. The Sydney performance was shocking, but I thought
it happens though sometimes.
Yeah,
you gotta let that happen once in a while.
They just faded away late, and they were in it for most of the game. So I still think North look a lot better than what they did last year, but still doesn't mean that they're going to be winning week after week. I think they'll be, if they need to find surely they can get 6 wins, right?
I mean,
surely.
I'd like to think that so. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why not? And this is, I think, where the latter end of the year might be more entertaining, because I just think the fixture in the beginning made it difficult to really see what's going on.
And it's a much different story for North this year compared to previous years. They don't have their pick.
Right.
So they'll be trying their guts out from round 1 to 24 this year. I'm not saying they aren't trying their guts out, but there's more reason to stay competitive each week. They haven't got their pick,
Yeah. And I think it's up and down. Like some teams just have a bad game and they're not, it just happens. There's nothing. It doesn't mean the team is bad. Doesn't mean they're back to the worst. It just means you had a bad weekend.
Well, the majority of teams have had had a bad game. The majority of teams at this point have had one bad game.
They lost to us.
Yeah. No, that was probably a good week for them.
We lost to the Crows. I mean, every team has had a shitty game, so I think just as fans, I think for all the North Melbourne fans, just be a little patient. I think that they're on the rise. I don't think it's. I
wouldn't
don't
be
think it's
saying to North
sad.
fans be patient. They've been through
well,
enough.
as a Saints supporter, I think I'm entitled.
No, they'll eventually. I think a win's around the corner for them.
Yeah, for sure.
For the short term, any other games we didn't really touch too much on Dogs and Lions.
We didn't, although the Dogs played way better than I expected.
Yeah. We
they're
called
gonna
it
be
in
hard to beat.
We called it in the tipping video, didn't we?
Yeah.
We said this has upset potential, and I was thinking, you beauty, I'll go on the podcast on Monday and say how good the Dogs. I told you there'd be an upset, but no, they folded like a deck of cards, and
we didn't talk about Collingwood Swans.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, also a good game.
Yeah, also
but
right.
I'm not surprised that Collingwood beat them. I don't know if this is the Swans' year.
I think they got too many injuries. I think this might be the learning year under Dean Cox. I
transition.
Think, I think there's too many injuries that they're copping to. This feels like a 2023 season for Sydney. Was it 2023? Yeah, it was. Yeah. Where they were still fine, but they, scraped into the 8.
Yeah.
It just feels like one of those years where if they get top 8, they'll absolutely take it and see where it takes them. So,
and then have a shitty grand final at this point. I don't want to see it.
It's just
stay away.
It's just the cycle for Sydney. Grand final, shit the bed. come back the next year, play pretty average footy.
Yeah.
But sneak in.
Do you think that's the grand final performance that does it? Like, are they so down about it that they just can't rally into the next season? I mean, I know I would be like,
Well, the history suggests that it is.
Yeah.
When you get smacked like that in a grand final, it's hard
Yeah,
not
it's
to
so
think about it.
embarrassing.
And it affects, I'm sure, I've never been a player in the club rooms, but I'm sure it would affect them a little bit and just
Has
have it
to.
in the back of their mind a fair bit. So
Right.
I also just think it's injuries as well for Sydney. I think they got a lot of guys out and a lot of guys that have been injured and are injured. So I think it's just a year where they'll take top 8 and just see where it takes them. Hopefully Goulden's fully healthy, back to his best. Hopefully Tom Papley should be good to go. But yeah, it'll be an interesting year for Sydney. I still think they're top 8, but
I don't know.
just a tough year with injuries.
I don't know. And also, I actually think Essendon have improved quite a bit, and I'm not surprised. Well, I tipped them to beat Melbourne.
Yeah. I tipped Melbourne, silly enough.
Yeah, I think they look like they care,
They
and I like to see it
good on them.
because they were like the team famous for. Oh, we're going to come in, we're going to do well, and then we're going to drop off, and we're going to be miserable, and we're not really going to care. And they never looked like they gave a shit at the end of a game, and they really are playing with a lot of heart.
Yeah, they
I
are.
think.
Yeah, they are.
And Joe's not
they're
here, so
looking
I had to give a shout out.
Yeah, they're looking a little bit better. Some dodgy opposition, but that's all right. Wins on the board.
They had to have a win. They got to get a win.
Got to get the win.
Yeah.
And then they got West Coast this week in Perth. So, interested to see how that goes. Do West Coast get their first win, or do Essendon make it through on the trot? It'll be interesting. So, they're looking a lot better. Zach Reed's, I think, pretty important for them. Finally healthy and providing some really good coverage for Ben Mackay in the back line.
I have a question.
Yes.
Given their performance so far, who do you think West Coast is beating realistically?
They'll win a game.
Who?
Melbourne.
Oh no, that would be terrible.
Richmond. Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't know.
They'll win a game.
I mean, are Melbourne that bad that we're saying West Coast could take them down?
Yeah, they're pretty bad. They're going just as bad as each other, really.
Ouch.
We'll talk about some more relevant news that has surfaced this morning. Was Willie Rioli, who obviously part of the Port team that smashed the Hawks last night, Sunday night, prime time. So I may as well bring the phone out to say what. So he posted an Instagram story. His Instagram is private, and he actually did end up deleting the story, but
you've got a clip.
he shared a post from AFL with Rioli kicking the goal, and he's put in the description down below on his story. Regarding Hawthorn, play with fire, you're going to get burnt. My hatred for this club goes way past last year's antics. What they did to my dad and my brother is why I can't stand them, not the players. Hashtag Coco Club. I don't know what Coco Club means, but
Well, what
yeah.
does that post mean?
Big statement there from Willie Rioli.
What did they do?
Obviously the whole Hawks, bringing up the whole Hawks racism saga again. He was referencing that with Cyril Rioli and all the players that went through that court case.
But what was the conclusion of that case?
I think, I believe everything just got
kind of
just
went into the
everyone
ether.
agreed. Yeah, it's fine. Let's move on, sort of thing. So and then obviously referencing his dad, Maurice Rioli, who was at Hawthorn for I believe it was either 6 weeks or 6 months, and just didn't make the team. Apparently there was I think this was in the 1990 season or something like that, and obviously I think there's reports of him dealing with racism at Hawthorn as well there. So Yeah, Rioli with strong words. So we won't talk about that part. We'll talk about the hatred for the club. He said, I like it. Everyone likes each other too much in footy these days.
So you're all for the hatred.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's good for the theatre. It's good for the game. Like, it would be like this in the 80s and 90s. There'd be pure hatred between certain rivalries. You look at Collingwood and Carlton players after the game smiling. Oh, g'day, mate. Going all right? Yeah, going good, blah, blah, blah. And everyone just likes each other too much. And I think this is good for the game to have a rivalry like this where there's pure hatred again for each other.
That sounds more like emotional trauma than hatred, though.
It does. It does.
He sounds like he's traumatized and he's putting it on Instagram for everyone to know. I'm all for the hatred as well.
Yep.
I'm all for a really good footy storyline, but I think having this like historical racism hatred thing, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I like the idea of that being an instigator for a football game to bring your best. I would love to leave race out of it.
Yeah.
I'd love for there to be a rivalry because this one team always wins or Kane's a loser. Like, go out there for that.
Yeah.
But not for like
unfortunately, as outsiders,
systemic issues.
Unfortunately, we as outsiders, we don't really know the core depths of what Willie and his family's dealt with the trauma that Hawthorn have caused or whatever the case may be. So can't really talk about that because we don't know. So
exactly.
So
I don't think it belongs in a post.
No. I guess it's one way to bring it up. I know he deleted it. I'm sure someone from Port Adelaide would have given him the tap on the shoulder. Probably best you don't post that.
But the AFL did.
But sorry,
I wouldn't be surprised if the AFL was like, take that down.
Yeah. Someone from Port or someone from the AFL would have said, yeah, better off not posting that. But I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't mind the hatred and.
I don't mind it in an interview. Like someone's asking, you want to tell them your story. I don't know, just randomly putting it up there seems a little bit like...
Yeah.
I don't want to say uncalled for, just inappropriate.
Yeah.
In my view. But I tend to be all for the hatred.
Yeah.
Not hatred, but rivalry.
Yeah, well, it's hatred for one of the Port players now, isn't it? So, always has been, clearly. So this will be a modern rivalry for a fair while. I actually don't dislike Port. I think Port have... I actually don't dislike Port. I like Port, but
as a team,
I don't feel.
What do you like about them?
I don't know. Just a team I don't mind. Really,
really. You don't think they're sooky?
No, I don't mind Port.
You don't think they're a little bit like silver spoon kids?
I feel like this is a rivalry. I know other Hawks fans think this differently. I think this is a more core rivalry for this playing group and this playing group rather than fans and all that. But I know a lot of Hawk supporters and have a lot more stronger opinions than I do.
About Port.
Of course. Hawks fans probably don't like Port now. So
would you say that the Ken Hinckley stuff last year, though, was they're appropriately annoyed by that?
Well, Ginnivan started it. He started it. So, I mean, if the roles were reversed, a Port player said this, see you in 14 days, and Sam Mitchell does the aeroplane, then I'm all for it. So I can't just go, hey, Ken Hinckley, that's not called.
That's the kind of rivalry
That's what I would have done if I don't know what they're saying is the shoes are in different feet or
if the shoe fits.
If the shoe fits, yeah. No, that wouldn't make much sense. No,
I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. Anyway, if the roles were reversed, I would have liked what Sam Mitchell did, and
if the shoe's on the other foot.
If the shoe's on the other foot, if the shoe's on the other foot, I would have liked it. Obviously, and I just thought it was fair enough. That's probably what I would have done as well.
No, that's
because
fun
it's
rivalry.
because it's disrespectful.
Yeah, but it's fun.
But I don't think what Ginnivan said was wrong. I think it's fine about the game. I don't think what Ginnivan said was wrong. And I don't think what Ken Hinkley did was wrong.
No, it's fun.
It's a rivalry. Sicily's when he took it. Sicily took it next level and took it a bit too far, saying, Port Adelaide, what do you say to Ken Hinkley? You've been a nowhere club for 8 years.
I mean,
you can't say
no. That's fair. No, it is totally. If the rest of it is fair, that's fair.
Yeah, I love James Sicily, but that he can't be saying that.
Yeah, he can.
He can't.
Why not?
Hawks were we were a nowhere club for 8 years after the Flags.
It doesn't matter. It's just,
no, it doesn't.
It's just shit talking. It's the point.
Yeah, I would understand if Dangerfield said it. I'd understand if someone built from success has done that. I love my boy James Sicily, but yeah. He had a shocker as well on Sunday night.
Yeah,
so.
I was going to ask. So what do you think is next for the Hawks? Do you think this was just a mulligan?
It can be. Depends how they respond. I think they need I love them, but God, they're arrogant.
Hawks?
Yeah, I just think we need to change that. Oh, not change it, but just...
I didn't say it. You did.
It was healthy arrogance, but now it's moved to arrogant.
Really?
I reckon it has, yeah.
I
just
don't
the
know.
way they go about themselves. And look, that was being like that was part of the reason why they catapulted themselves. They were being more themselves,
right?
To get themselves, to keep getting better. But I don't know. You don't see the great if you want to be a great team like everyone in the media is saying we are.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta act like one.
Yeah.
And I just think we're a
Leader.
little bit
Leadership.
childish. So, and what we give, we can't get back. We can't take it back. Willie Rioli doing that, and then we lose our shit.
Yeah.
When we would post selfies last year. So, I don't know. Rioli checked that Hawthorn needed. I think this can be a mulligan, but this could also maybe lose a bit of confidence. But I think this is the Rioli check they needed. They needed a bit of a shut up the gob for a week. Just
be humble.
Get back to footy and so I think we'll get McDonald and Scrimshaw back this week, which is pretty important. There'll be a couple of changes there. My guess would be Bruce probably gets dropped. Jack Gunson though kicked 6. Which I woke up this morning on the stat sheet. Gee, Jack Gunson, g'day. Where's this been?
Yeah, that's good.
I love Jack. But yeah, no, it can be a mulligan. I think the Cats should. I think the Cats are primed to be in the winning position this week for Easter Monday. But I'm pumped.
We'll see. It's going to be a good game.
I always love the Easter Monday matchup. So yeah, Easter this weekend. So. Any more points we're going to talk about? I guess.
No, but if we're giving shout outs to a losing team, I want to shout out Cooper Sharman, who had a great game for the Saints.
He was
well
brave.
done. I see vast improvement in you, and I'm excited.
Yep.
Anyway.
Patrick Voss as well from Freo got a 3 weeks suspension. So that was that hit on Nick Flosson, which was fair enough. Seemed like 3 weeks. So, shout out to everyone that went to Gather Round. Tremendous.
Well done, Gather Round.
Tremendous stuff each year. It's like footy schoolies, isn't it?
It's
seems footy
fun.
schoolies.
It seems really fun.
Everyone catching up. Adelaide really thrives the footy passion with the footy world. So it's a great spot. And
as opposed to round 0, Gather Round, you've nailed it.
Yeah,
know where you've won.
Yeah, exactly. Round 0 can get the boot and Gather Round stay.
Yeah, I agree.
Stay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see if Tassie try to lure it away, but
it won't happen.
You don't reckon?
Too far.
Yeah.
Brisbane will have to fly far. Everyone from Western Australia will have to fly.
That's a good point.
Far. Adelaide's
it's just in the middle of everything,
right.
and that's what makes it convenient. So
that's why it'll stay. It should stay. Well done.
Love Gather Round. I'll be back next year. Thank you, Fancasters, for watching another episode on the bench here on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment your bold call of the week. And we'll get Joe back next week. Don't worry, he's not dead. I promise. He's back and ready to go next week. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you, Fancasters, later.
Bye.
Bye.